Forward. Forward. Forward.
Fall in.
Hey, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good with everyone? Good morning. Glad to see y'all this morning. You know what? I feel so remiss and so out of sorts. You know what I'm saying? When I haven't even came on here, even though it's not necessarily the most luxurious or greatest thing, but of course we got to give love where love is needed. Happy Black History Month to all those that celebrate it, all those that are effective, all those that are enduring to it. Being a African American male in this world, I guess you could say in this industry, of course, we got to make sure that we get the love and make sure we continue to push and galvanize that to where it's understood. So Black History Month live in effect started on the 1st. Here we are 3 days into it, and I haven't even said anything about it. So I hope, be able to check out everything that's going on. If y'all got something going on, be sure to let us know so we can even push it, give it a platform, and things of that nature. Good morning, Rodney. What's good, brother? What's going on this morning? How you doing, brother? How you feeling? But plenty to talk about. It's so much stuff in which I was like, I just got stuff. So ain't no telling where I'm going. Just, ride the wave with me this morning. In case, good morning. It's your boy, Trey. And this is E2G's First Formation Morning Sports Talk. So come on and fall in with us as we get to talking about some of the things that went on in sports over the last 24 hours, things that are probably yet to come. Just a conversation. We in here. What's good? So, of course, we know things took place yesterday. You had the NFL start the Pro Bowl games, which I didn't get a chance to catch. I was doing punching the clock. But, of course, due to the technology, everything that we have here, you are able to go back and take a look in time to see what went down. So we have that. We'll speak on some things in reference to upcoming player transitions. They talked to Derek Carr, he's on one, but hey, business is business. NBA yesterday, as came up, we got the reserves. So now we know what the pool looks like. So we get ready for, I guess you could say, the pickoff between me and Bishop's, our rendition of what the NBA all-star teams would look like, or what it would look like if we were actually picking. So we got that. What's good, Mr. Munderland? What's going on, sir? How's everything going on out there in your area? Glad to have your information with us this morning. So we got all that, everything. It's a lot, which we're going to touch on. I came up with a couple of things. You know what? Saying? This is mine. So I get to talk about what I want, when I want, how I want it for the most part. So I was like, I'm doing that. So we got a little more going on with that. Of course, if you've been paying attention, today is February the 2nd, February the 3rd, 2023, in which they have dubbed as Michael Jordan Day. So I'm not the hugest Michael Jordan fan, but I rocks with my man. So we're going to do a little, it's something that came up. I was like, you know what? We're going to talk about, we got something to talk about. It may include Michael Jordan. I don't know for y'all out there, Michael Jordan fans, or who all consider Michael Jordan to be the GOAT of basketball for you. I'm not sure, don't thinking it was for me yet. As I go through, I look at stuff. Everyone reserves the right to change their mind. I'm no different. So, of course, what's good, Anthony? Glad to have you with this information this morning, brother. What's going on with you? So, yeah. So, Michael Jordan, I don't know. Y'all out there, a couple of y'all out there, I said y'all in. What was y'all favorite Michael Jordan moment? Is there a favorite Michael Jordan moment? Do you consider Michael Jordan to be the greatest player in NBA history? But all that, of course, what it is. let's catch a whole vibe. Get into it. Let's get into these scores last night in NBA. Or of course, actually, let me flip it. Flip it. What is going on in the WNBA? You know, for those that be around me, I have a bunch of monikers and stuff in which I say. I have a bunch of monikers which I say, and one of them, in my opinion, is that everything has a blueprint. Only thing that you potentially need to do to be successful, to be a mogul in your own right, I guess you could say, is you go forth, you research the blueprints that are in front of you, and you make it your own. Make it fit what you're doing. I wonder, is that what we're starting to see when it comes down to the WNBA, right? I don't. So Anthony, that's where I'm finna go with this, bro. You picking up what I'm putting down. What's good, Kanief? What's going on, sis? How you doing this morning? Happy Friday to you as well. What is going on in the WNBA? It looks like two teams have been building on excellence and are looking at potentially meeting head on for what is going to be a whirlwind in a potential NBA finals. Of course, we have like Anthony Price, where he was saying the Las Vegas Aces doing battle. We know just last week they picked up one of the greatest WNBA players in this generation, Candace Parker, put her next to another pretty good NBA player in Asa Wilson, Chelsea Gray, and Kelsey Plum on the squad. It's like, yo, what is, and within Becky Hammond as their head coach pulls up 1 year, annihilates the league, gets in, and knocks down and gets an NBA championship in her first year as a head coach with the Las Vegas Aces. But now on the other side of the spectrum, on the other side of the coast, you see the New York Liberty is doing damage. Already one of the best player all-time scorer in NCAA history, Sabrina Ionescu, already on the squad. She was out last year due to an injury. But bucket, a walking bucket. And Sabrina is already on the squad. Janelle Jonquel on the squad. And what do they go and do? They go and recruit the services of Stewie. If y'all know in WNBA basketball, you know that name, clear and concise. Breanna Stewart pulls up, now signed the deal to be a member of the New York Liberty. So now you have Jonquel Jones. You already have Sabrina Ionescu and Jonquel Jones. You had Breanna Stewart. And just yesterday, they added another piece in Courtney Vandersloot. What is going on with the WNBA? I feel bad. LA Sparks, pull up, join the party. Let's go. Y'all gonna make me, do like my sister and jump on the bandwagon in Las Vegas. Come on now. New York, Las Vegas, putting the work in. Why are these? I guess some things change, but they remain the same. Those big money markets, and Las Vegas is a big money market, but they got that big money evidently. So of course you got that going on. It's crazy. So tap in. If you ain't been a fan of WNBA, this might be the year you need to pull up. Butts and seats is what it's all about. And that's always been one of the hugest issues with the WNBA and their franchises and how they don't get money and how they're doing. right now, the New York Liberty and the Las Vegas Aces are doing what they need to do to potentially add fans to their fan base and get it going. So, of course, I'm sorry. Of course, it's a whole vibe. It's gonna be lit. I'm excited about watching WNBA this year. Definitely excited. If I was in Las Vegas, my sister said she went and got it became a season ticket holder. I'm with you, sis. But yes, of course, you got that going on. I just had to sit up and bring that out and bring that to the conversation. Um, be sure to check out, support your local WNBA franchises this year. You never know what you might see. It's one of those things like you never know. They're gonna know. No one's gonna know. Bear with me for a second as I write something down. One second, one momento. Um, oh. Come on, Gwendolyn. I guess that's a start. That is a start. You watch the last couple of minutes, and then you realize you missed something. Then you be like, you know what? Let me dial it back a little more. Let me watch the second half, and then you be like, you know what? This is pretty lit. Let me watch get to the first quarter. And next, you sitting there watching the whole game. You just sit up and went and got your favorite team, your favorite team's jersey or something like that, your favorite WNBA player, it starts from somewhere. It always has to start from somewhere. So I applaud you even watching a couple of minutes because those are ratings that get them money. So I applaud you on that, Mr. Munley. Hey, you have to start somewhere. In for the most part. So, like I was about to say, I'm sorry. I had to take it. I still got another idea. I'm so sorry. Yes, sir. I tend to know I do what I do. So, real quick, right? 7 games played last night. As we've always talked about, that the leagues this year, presumably in its own way, form, and fashion, have become in some way has been to where there's not a clear separation. Like I don't know if we can consider 24 games from number one to number 1 to 15 in a conference as being close. I get it. I understand that. 12 to 15 when it comes to being the top 12, 1 to 12 for the top 10 separation in games. Maybe not so much, especially when you look at there's just a little bit less than 30 games remaining in the season, with more ball to be played. In the case of the West, it's 11 games. I mean, East is 11 games difference between the 8th seed and the 1st seed, with more games to be played. Of course, on the other side of the spectrum, in the West, 22 and a half games to 10 and a half games to 8 to 9 and a half games is at a different. Good morning, Jackie. How you doing this morning? Glad you have information with us this morning. Glad to have you rocking with us. Hope your day is going exhilarating and luxurious this morning. For the most part, like I said, games are close. Even with double digits, single digits, the games are closer than what we believe, in my opinion. For me, in my personal opinion, because if you watch and look at what's going on, Nuggets have extended their streak 2 additional games. They were over a game and a half over the Grizzlies. Of course, that goes into play when you look at teams that are losing and then the other team winning. So of course that makes a difference. But in-state is your game in which you have won and extended your lead for the most part. You apply pressure by winning the game. They got to keep pace with it. If they don't win the game, then they lose. Then they start to lose momentum, and you gain more momentum. You know what I'm saying? It just happens that way. So 7 games last night, and with some of that, in case all those games make a difference because they're even winning to build momentum or they're losing momentum when they lose a game. In all these cases, for the most part, which makes it differently when you how was that expectation? Was it everything you thought it would be, Wayne, or was it like or was you like thoroughly impressed? Like, did it give you a new affinity of love for Steph Curry? The top 2 games that took place yesterday, we're gonna get to. I'm gonna save them for last because we got some talking to do in reference to that. Yeah, yes, true that, true that. I agree, Wayne. I clearly agree. I clearly agree. So let's start there. The Golden State Warriors traveled to Denver as they was hosted by the Denver Nuggets in uh last night's game. 17 points was the separation, and the Denver Nuggets were the winner, winning 134 to 117. In the losing effort, the Golden State Warriors, 28 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists from Steph Curry, 22 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Jordan Poole, 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 10 assists, 2 assists from Jonathan Kuminga, 14 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, Dante DiVincenzo, 9 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, Andrew Wiggins, Wiseman, 9 points, 2 rebounds, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists from JaMychal Green, Moses Moody, 2 rebounds and 1 assist. Ty Jones, 9 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists for the Nuggets in their winning efforts, led by yet 33 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists for Jamal Murray. As I stated, at some point, Jamal Murray was going to get back into his bag, and where he left off at when he got injured almost 2 years ago is where he's going to get back to, and he has been coming on pretty strong, which I very strongly feel is basically putting the wind beneath the wings of the Denver Nuggets as they continue to play and get better. Everyone is starting to get better. But of course, who's doing the same damage? 22 points, 14 rebounds, 16 assists. Yet another triple-double from Nikola Jokic. The man is, in my opinion, he's rearing up and be like, yo, this NBA trophy is not leaving my grasp. 17 points apiece from Michael Porter Jr. and Vlatko Konsar. 17 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists from him. 1-1 from Porter. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. 17 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists from Bruce Brown. 5 points apiece from Christian Braun and Zeke and Najee. And yet Denver continues to roll as they get the 134 to 117 win. 20 games above 500. It's going to take a hell of a fall from grace for them to be a 500 team. With the loss, the Golden State Warriors drop and are at a 500 team currently. But like I said, a lot can happen. Like we just talked about, them 20 games in which the Nuggets have can be flipped so quickly. So it remains to be seen, of course. But yeah, we move on. What's good, Mr. Fest, Mr. Richardson? I'm going to have to hit you up, brother. I got something to talk to you about. Ask some questions, get some insight and references and stuff. And that's just, you know what I'm saying, wrap it up. Talk about. I'll have to hit you up. I'll hit you up a messenger, get your numbers, and we can speak. But glad to have information with us. Good morning to you as well. Okay, they play OKC, Minnesota, and Denver within a week. The Warriors are still a straight up tie. I get it. They're going through. Everyone got to go through a gauntlet at some point, and especially they came out. Remember when they first started out, they were a horrendous road team. And I don't think too many things have changed, and it doesn't make a difference. Now, I think, in my opinion, like now you get to a point to where now you kind of see what everyone is, and people have, because they've been playing at this point 30 or 40 games together consistently to a degree. Now you have it to where now these people are starting to be like, yo, we got our chemistry, and that can be detrimental to a team, especially if you doing your thing at home and you have a team that comes in that just set up and play a tough schedule, and then they come to town or they try to go back home and reset. It's not everything isn't in what it is, but like I said, plenty of games left for the most part. 30 games remaining in the season. Still opportunity for someone to turn it around, go on a streak, and string some wins together. What's good, Nathan? What's going on there, Frat? Good morning to you. Glad to see your formation this morning. So you have that. So definitely one of those situations. But of course, shout out to the Nuggets. They had to be in the Western Conference. Another game last night, the Los Angeles Clippers faced off against the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks playing the host in this particular game. Kawhi Leonard played. Paul George played. Norman Powell led the team, 26 points, 2 rebounds. Then we go ahead, Kawhi Leonard, 17 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 16 points apiece from Paul George with 6 rebounds, 2 assists, as well as Marcus Morris Sr., 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Ezekiel Zubac, 12 points, 13 rebounds, 1 assist, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists from Terrence Mann, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Reggie Jackson, 2 points, 2 rebounds. Robert Covington, and all in that, still to lose by just 1 point with the 106-105 win. With the loss, the Clippers fall to 29-26. With the win, the Bucks improved to 35-17, led by yet another 50-point outing by Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, as we all know him. He has scored 3 50-point games in a matter of weeks. 3 50-point games. That's 150 points total. Average at this point. He dropped 54 points, 19 rebounds, and 2 assists last night. At this point, is Giannis one of the most dominant players in the NBA? Can we say that? Is it possible to say that? Drew Holiday, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. 16 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists from Chris Middleton. 8 points, 10 rebounds from Pat Connaughton. Grayson Allen, 4 points, 2 rebounds. Joe Ingles, 3 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Javon Carter, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Brook Lopez, 6 points, 5 rebounds. But all the heavy lifting done by Giannis Antetokounmpo. And when you look at it, he really didn't get too much help. I guess you could kind of say. It was helpful. Any stat could be helpful. We're going to get to this in a few minutes. Coach Cal, what's good? Glad to have your formation with us this morning. But Giannis didn't get much help. And maybe what Coach Cal is saying is maybe something that needs in Milwaukee. Does Giannis need more help? I didn't see Portis, so he's missing. That's help as well. But at this point, is this a necessity? Like we had our intramural games last night, right? And so we have a total of 9 teams in my intramural league. And so day in, day out, I watch and see players play, right? I have a couple of undefeated teams. I think 2 now. I think 2 of them faced off last night. Pretty good games. Even the games that wasn't good was good, if you get what I'm saying. But so what I'm saying is, even when it's a team that has a particular player on it, right? The first time they played, he dropped 35 points. They scored 60, but he had 35 of the 60. The next time they played, he dropped 28 points. They lost. They scored 66, but he had 28 of the 66. They lost. Last night he had 22 points. They scored, they scored 50, I think. I think they scored 50 last night, but he had 22 points. No, that wasn't that game. They had a 20-point win. But he scored 22 points of that. So, and what he says is when I was talking to him, we was clowning. I was like, "You got to go." He was looking because they only had 5 players, so it was Iron Man all game long, 40 minutes. So he walked over to the table, I was like, "You gotta go for 35 again tonight," and he laughed. He was like, "Bruh," he's like, "I might have," and then he laughed. And he's like, "It's not that I it's not that I don't want to. It's like I got to. I have to. That's how we stay competitive. I got to go day in, day out. You got to put up points." So in this case, looking at Giannis, 54 points. He had 51 the other night. Is he doing it because he has to? Or is it just happening naturally? Or does he have to put these points in order for them to win? Because when you look at it, it wasn't too inviting for the rest. I mean, Chris Middleton, 16, Drew Holiday, 12. That's 28 points. They scored 106. They had 28 of 106. Giannis had 54 of that 106. 84 points, 82 points, 92 points. So maybe, you know what I'm saying? So is it by necessity or just if it happens to be happening? But in case, like Mr. Mulliner said, it was a whooping. Milwaukee 35-17, the Clippers 29-26. They're starting to come in range. That's all that matters to me. Some teams I look for, I'm happy to see them lose. Next up. The Miami Heat traveled to New York to take on to be hosted by the New York Knicks. Jimmy Butler and company fell into the Madison Square Garden and fell out with a loss. In their losing efforts, Bam Adebayo, 32 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. 25 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists from Tyler Hero. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists from Jimmy Butler. Max Strus contribute 17 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 7 points, 3 rebounds from Haywood Highsmith. Udonis Haslam even got into the game, recorded 2 rebounds. Gabe Vincent, 5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Kyle Lowry, 3 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. Caleb Martin, 5 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. All in a losing effort. As the Knicks, with the 106-104, had contributions from Julius Randle's double-double, 23 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. RJ Barrett, a 30-piece, 30 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists from Quentin Grimes. 8 points from Isaiah Harrison, 10 rebounds, 1 assist to go along with it. 7 points, 2 rebounds from Obi Toppin. 5 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists from Evan Fournier. Jericho Sims contributed with 2 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Emmanuel Quickly, 8.6 rebounds, 4 assists, all to help them get the dub. 28-25 on the year with the Knicks. The Heat fall to 29-24, just staying a game ahead of the Knicks as they continue to go. We're going to get to that as well, too, Mr. Mullen. But Memphis doing their thing. What's good, Zach? What's going on, Frat? How you doing this morning, brother? How's everything going on in yo AO? I want to give up where you was at, you know what I'm saying? OPSEC. Another game before we get to 3 of the games, that marquee games or top games, I guess you could look at it. The Chicago Bulls hosted the Charlotte Hornets, in which, of course, not too much to think about this game for the most part. I'm very sure what we expected to happen did happen as the Bulls get the win, winning 114-98. With the win, they moved to 24-27 on the year. Continue the grass claw to get back in to a better standing in the East. 3 games below 500 for the Charlotte Hornets is going to start to look dismal. They're falling further and further into the obscurity. But what can be a good thing for them to be in the lottery? 15-38 with their loss. They led by 23 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist from Terry Rozier. LaMelo Ball, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists as he was ejected from the game, his first ejection. 16 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists from Mason Plumlee. 9 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, Gordon Hayward. 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists from PJ Washington. 13 points, 7 rebounds from Mark Williams. Dennis Smith Jr., 7 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. And McDaniels, I think I said 1 assist, 2 rebounds on the night. Jalen McDaniels, of course. For the Bulls, they were led by Ayo Demonsu's 22 points, 20 points, 4 rebounds from Kobe White, 17 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists from Nikola Vucevic, 10 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists from Zach LaVine, in which we're going to talk a little bit about that because we got the trade deadline coming up. Like I said, I got plenty of stuff and reference to talk about when it comes to this, the NBA this morning. 2 points, 2 rebounds from Derrick Jones Jr., Goran Dragic, 4 assists. Andre Drummond turned it back a little bit, 15 points, 11 rebounds with a double-double last night. Patrick Williams, 6 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. In any case, the Bulls pulled away, 114-98, 16-point W, putting them in a good place. I mean, starting to move them back up, move the needle as they get ready to get back as the NBA break is just 2 weeks away. Glad to hear that, sir. Okay. You getting ready to get back? All right. I'm very sure you'll be welcome with open arms. Everyone misses you, I'm sure. Shout out to our service members. Another one. What else we had last night? I got that. I covered this. All right, let's get into this one right here. Coach Cal, this is for you, bruh. Last night, the Dallas Mavericks hosted the New Orleans Pelicans. So we already knew that the Pelicans were going to be a little late arriving to the party. They didn't get there as early as they wanted to, as usual, due to the conditions that are around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So they had to wait a little bit to leave to make sure they would be able to fly into DFW. Of course, they get there because we're getting ready to talk about the fact that the game went on. The Mavericks did get a win. They got a win, winning 111-106. With that win, they improved 3 games above 500 with the 28-25 current standing. The Pelicans fall to 26-27, 1 game below 500 as they get ready to face off against the Lakers. Maybe you can say a hot streak in Lakers. I don't know. We'll get to that as well. But they're going to face off against the Lakers at home on the 4th, basically tomorrow night. I should have been at that game, but I'm not for pulling up and LeBron not playing. That would upset me. But in any case, I digress. Last night, Pelicans, led by Brandon Ingram's 26 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. You know what? That might be a reason to go. 26 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. 19 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists from CJ McCollum. 16 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists with Jonas Valanciunas, who I think is an underrated player. Larry Nance, 10 points, 12 rebounds, 1 assist. 11 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists from Najee Harris. Jose Alvarado, just after being the key person the other night, 14 minutes to play, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. 2 points and 2 rebounds from Kira Lewis. Trey Murphy, 9 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. And Herb Jones, 9 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist on the night. For the Mavericks, led by Luka Doncic, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Now keep this in mind. Luka had an injury. He sustained a heel injury in the 3rd quarter after bumping into Valanciunas in midair, falling. I think someone else got the block. Oh, Ingram got the block. He hit Luka. Luka hits Valanciunas, and he ends up leaving the 3rd quarter with a heel injury. So yet again, Luka Doncic might be out. But prior to that, only in 23 minutes of play, he had 31 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. 21 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists from Spencer Dinwiddie, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. From Dorian Smith, 15 points, 4 rebounds. Josh Green, 9 points, 2 rebounds from Davis Bertans. Frank Talinka played 1 minute, didn't notch anything. 9 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. From Tim Hardaway Jr., Dwight Powell, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Excuse me, and Reggie Bullock, 4 points, 4 rebounds. Oh, Jaden Hardy also contributed with 2 points. When you look at that, right, and I seen earlier, Coach Cal pointed out, make a trade, Mark Cuban. Christian Wood is currently sitting out with an injury. JaVale McGee doesn't get any JaVale McGee isn't getting a huge burn, in which I'm sure that has its own thing, which maybe that may be someone that needs to be traded. Maybe they need a more serviceable player than JaVale McGee, because he started out hot at the beginning of the year where it was starting to look like it was going to be productive. Like even him could contribute a sense, and maybe it's kind of like that plan isn't going as planned for the most part. The Mavericks definitely outside anything else, I think they are. In which Coach Cal said, I think they're definitely a team in which needs help. Luka needs help, especially when he goes down. Spencer Dinwiddie does all right, but Luka needs help to be for the Mavericks, not just for Luka, for the Mavericks to be more of a competitive. Luka needs help. Where they can get that help from, I don't know. What type of assets does the Dallas Mavericks have to give to bring that help? Like, it's like you look at it, like, right, like, okay, they paid JaVale McGee too much money. He'll be hard to trade. I think he'll just be a shelf for the playoffs. And which that's unfortunate. That comes to bad, in my opinion. I don't know, Coach Cal, if you agree, that's bad business. That comes along with they not doing what you're supposed to do. The bad management for the most part, saying maybe they can see what JaVale, they thought of the JaVale of old and thought he could be serviceable, and now he's not. So now, what help could the Mavericks possibly get? Like, where's the willing and dealing at? What are the assets and what the Mavericks have to sit up and make these deals, to sit up and make something happen? It's looking dismal for them right now. It really is. But when Christian Wood come back, it might be helpful. It might be helpful, but I don't know where y'all get the help from, bro. I don't even know what rabbit is being pulled out of what hat over there in Dallas. 28 and 25. The franchise player down and out yet again, after just coming back from an injury. Kleber, that's who I can think of. Kleber, he's out still. You would want to trade Woods? Like, okay, Coach Cal. So I see you say Finney Smith. I could get Kleber, Hardaway Jr., and Christian Woods. 4 names you give. Tradable assets, I'm sure. But wouldn't you want to keep some of those, or who do you think that's worthy of trading 2 of those for to get in return that's going to help and be able to complement and play with Luka? I see that you didn't say Spencer Dinwiddie, so even one, you consider Spencer Dinwiddie a player that you want to keep on your organization, or 2, you don't think he's tradable. He's a tradable asset, and of course, like you said, not many as draft assets. Got it. Duly noted. But yeah, so it's getting rough out there. It's hard out there. You want to trade Woods and Hardaway. So why Woods? I thought Woods is it just to get more assets, or because it's just like what I be on? Like, I don't want to trade Anthony Davis, but I want to trade Anthony Davis. Like, he's the draw. Like, he's going to bring us back the most assets. So is that the same thing with you thinking Woods and Hardaway, or is it that you just don't like Woods and Hardaway in Dallas? as you know, there's like a 20-second delay between what I say and which I receive. So, okay, statistically, it looks like a good match, but I'm not buying Luka and Woods. Okay, so you basically think the chemistry is not going to be good. It almost seems like what you say that it almost seems like that's the same thing when we look at Porzingis and Luka. Like I thought that was just going to be a match made in heaven, and then it turned out to be a nightmare. Okay, the ball stops whenever they hook up. All right. So now you're saying you need a facilitator. You want to? I guess you say you need want a facilitator or someone that Luka would trust that's going to get in the ball to get him off the ball. But is Luka the same player if you take him off the ball? Do you think they had Jalen Brunson there? Yet we didn't even know that Jalen Brunson was who he was until he went to New York. Okay, someone that creates their own shot. So I think Brunson leaving was on his own recognizance. I think Brunson went it out. I don't think it was anything that the Mavericks could have did to keep Brunson to have him stay. I don't think it was going to happen. So Brunson, I think, was like, "Yo, I'm out for whatever reason." Because now, who you said, and then when you look at it, Brunson now, you think, I don't know. I don't even think Buddy could have kept him. He got 1 million. He got 100 million to go. 4 years, 100 million. Was it 5 years, 100 million to go to New York? Uh, and I don't know. When you look at how Brunson's playing now, I don't think him and Luka could have been in the same space. Like, like Lauren Hill said on the Zealots, too many amputees can occupy the same space at the same time. It's against the laws of physics. All right, Wayne, enjoy your day, bro. Tile at you. You know what it is, first team. It's crazy. I was reading up some stuff about first Cav yesterday. A lot of history there. Yeah, he definitely wanted to leave. Yeah, but I don't know what they could have offered him, and maybe they would have thought that was a little too rich for their blood. Because, like you said, 100 million. He definitely walked away with 100 million to go there. So I don't know, was it 25 a year or 20 a year? And I don't know if that money would have been. I look at it as you can offer me 100 million to stay somewhere. I mean, you can offer me 150 million to stay somewhere, and I'm going to look at like, do I want that money? Do I really want to be here, or do I want to go somewhere I would prefer to be with some money that's still not bad? Like 20 million, 25 million a year isn't bad. I could go there and be happy and feel like I'm fine with my choice. And I think at that point it was just nothing you could do. They could have did to keep him there, in which he was looking for the most part. I think just Luka is on the ball too much, and that would be the same thing where I think when it comes down to LeBron, like a player that shouldn't be on the ball is on the ball all the time, and that could be, I think, a detriment on why players don't want to hook up and be with LeBron. Like that could have been the detriment on why Kawhi didn't want to be in LA. We could have had Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. We got LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook. Okay, I get you. I see what you're saying. Shouldn't talk to him. Last year versus giving me nothing. I get you. You basically let walk for nothing at the end state. When you could have did some of these, bring them on, or at least talk to them about re-signing them, and then sign and trade too. So you could have brought back some assets potentially. I get it. I understand. It's business. All about the business, bro. So two more games, other games last night. Wayne Mother was talking about one. When you talked about the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Memphis Grizzlies game. A lot of wild stuff going on. In state, the Grizzlies take the L, losing by 15 to the Cavaliers, 128-113. With the loss, the Grizzlies dropped to 32-20. Again, trying to keep pace as the Denver Nuggets with the win put them 4 games ahead of the Grizzlies, getting closer and closer to the break. 30 games out before the end of the season. Cavaliers 32-30 and 32-22 with their W. The Grizzlies, led by Desmond Baines, 25 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. Ja Morant contributed 24 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Ja is getting a little more dominant every game, I think. Brandon Clark, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist from Santi Adama. Dylan Brooks, 9 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, in which we're going to get to Dylan in a second. 10 points, 3 rebounds from Brandon Cook, 8 points, 4 rebounds from David Moody. John Concar, 2.7 rebounds, 2 assists. 5 assists. Tyus Jones, 6 points, 1 rebounds, 3 assists. Xavier Tillman, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. For the Cavaliers, 32 points, 2 rebounds, and 11 assists from Darius Garland, who led the field. 18 points, 11 rebounds from Jared Allen. 17 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists from Evan Mobley. So that's 2 double-doubles on it. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, Isaac Oroku. 21 points, 0 rebounds, 4 assists from C.D. Osman. Ricky Rubio, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 points from Dean Wade, 4 points from Lamar Stevenson. In this game, right, what Anthony said, Luka to Dallas is like Carmelo Anthony to the Knicks. They don't believe in teamwork. You don't think Luka believes in teamwork? The fans and now the fellow players. So it's good that you just bring that up. I was just about to talk about that, Coach Cal. So when you look at this, right, Dylan Brooks is starting to develop the moniker of a dirty, nasty player, right? Last night, if you was watching the game, of course, here's the reason why there was a probably only 6 points scored by Donovan Mitchell. He didn't play the whole game. He was ejected in the game after him and Dylan Brooks got into a scuffle to where initially, so to speak, you could think that all Donovan did was to defend himself. It was Dylan Brooks with the shenanigans, in which he got tossed out. So if you didn't catch it, Dylan Brooks and Bishop was here. I'm very sure he'll run the tape. But Dylan Brooks last night got fouled on. He got touched after he scored a field goal. Got touched, hits the ground for whatever reasons, rolls over to Donovan Mitchell, who was standing underneath at the baseline. Rolls over to Donovan Mitchell with like a rolling tuck, and comes up and basically strikes Donovan Mitchell in his groin area. Unnecessary, completely unnecessary. Honestly, and clearly deliberate when you look at it. Struck him in the groin area. He said Draymond would be proud. Honestly, that's what it was. Well, even a Draymond-esque, I guess you could say, when you look at how they said Draymond did LeBron during the playoffs in the years they played. But he struck him in the groin area. Donovan Mitchell retaliates by throwing the ball at him. Then he gets up and pushes him. In the scuffle, Dylan Brooks goes to the ground, is on the ground. Instead is Brooks and Mitchell were ejected. So now you get to this, to where Donovan, after the game, post-game interview or post-game presser, basically he stated that for his mark, he's he's been busting Dylan Brooks' ass since the onset of them getting into the league, and it's not going to stop. It's like he doesn't understand it, why. And so now you're starting to see where a lot of people are starting to say that this is something that Dylan does. He's a dirty player, and he and like Coach Cal said, now, you know what I'm saying, the fans and the media see it. Shannon Sharp, and you already know him and Shannon Sharp got into it. And now the fellow players are starting to take a look at it. And so what do you do? How do you come back from that? Do you just embrace it and be like, I am, this is what they're going to say I am, this is who I am, so be it? Like, what is it? How do you go forth and continue with that? So at some point, someone's going to check him in a way in which he doesn't want to be checked. You're going to run into that person. Everyone's a goon until a real goon walks into the room. In this case, walks on the court. a flagrant type of player, and the refs are going to constantly call things against him. And that might be true, Donovan. That might be something clear and concise, like you said. Like people are going to start taking correct. Grayson Allen is another one of the players. You know what he does, Coach Cal, but is there enough room for both of them? Or is this a situation where Grayson Allen's just seen that last night? He's gonna be like, "Yo, hold my beer." Like he's gonna go out and create an even more egregious act. Like what is going to be the outcome to this as they continue to go forth? Like what is really going on when you talk about this? But like you said, Donovan, it's going to be one of those situations. We already got Grayson Allen that's being tabbed, like Coach Cal just said. Now it's starting to be the same thing with Dylan Brooks. It was now they're going to have at some point we're going to have to produce on the first formation, the grimy squad, the grimy team, all grimy team. We already got Dylan Brooks and Grayson Allen. And all we need is a point guard, a power forward, and a point guard. Yeah, a point guard, a power forward, and a center to front court players. We need two back court players and a front two and a front court player. But I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes you gotta embrace what it is. Sometimes some teams need that guy. It's a way to do it, and I think Dylan is going about the wrong way. But everyone got to notch their got to put their notch in some way, form, or fashion. So it remains to be seen, of course. And of course, last night's final game, which has its own things attached to it. The Los Angeles Lakers, hosted by the Indiana Pacers, before they go or move on to another game on the road tomorrow. Hosted by the Indiana Pacers. Harden is the only active comparison. Melo didn't pass, rebound, or get in the passing lanes nearly as well. So the Lakers 111 to 112 gets the win. The Pacers in their losing efforts. Good game from Tyrese Halliburton, who earned his first nod to the All-Star game, which you're gonna get to in a second, very soon. Halliburton 26 points, 2 rebounds, 12 assists. Miles Turner 20 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists. 24 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists from Aaron Nesmith. 14 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Buddy Hield 11 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists from T.J. McConnell. Benedict Mathurin as he gets set to play in the rookie or the Horizon Stars game. 5 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. And then Isaiah Jackson, 4.6 rebounds on the night. Serviceable game, pretty good. Wasn't that bad, actually, when you look at that. They gave the Lakers a fits, but just didn't have enough towards the end of the fourth quarter, as it was scored by 13 points, which means the Lakers have to come back, of course, in deficit. The Lakers, Anthony Davis, who did not get into the All-Star game. We're going to talk about that as well. 31 points, 14 rebounds, 2 assists, 26 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. With that, LeBron is 63 points out from being the new NBA basketball all-time leading scorer. Russell Westbrook, double-double, 10 points, 10 assists, 3 rebounds, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists from Patrick Beverley. Dennis Schroeder contributes 12.6 rebounds, 5 assists. Ryo Hachimura, his lowest game since becoming a Laker, 7 points, 9 rebounds, although that's not a bad stat. Thomas Bryant, 11.6 rebounds, 6 points, 1 rebound from Lonnie Walker IV. Troy Brown with 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds and 1 assist. And we have it there. Hold on 1 second. And of course, like I said, all in all, the Lakers with the 112 to 111 win. With the win, they improved to 25 and 28 on the season. 3 games just below 500, trying to get there. Seems like it's always a fight They have another opportunity to improve, double that, because with a win tomorrow night gives them an opportunity to move up one notch in the winners column and knock the New Orleans Pelicans down a notch in the losers column, which improves their odds of jumping them. The Pacers 24-29 on the season with their loss. As I continue to say, I will continue to say until there's a clear, definitive lead amongst the players. Still anyone's game. The All-Star break just 2 weeks away. And then we get back to it, of course. Tonight's games, of course, with that being said, the Pacers in the back-to-back will be hosting the Sacramento Kings. The Charlotte Hornets playing the back-to-back will be hosted by the Pistons, the Detroit Pistons. The Wizards will host the Portland Trailblazers. The Boston Celtics to host the Phoenix Suns in Boston. The Minnesota Timberwolves hosting the Orlando Magic. The San Antonio Spurs to host the Philadelphia 76ers. Toronto Raptors to be hosted by the Houston Rockets. And the Utah Jazz are due to host the Atlanta Hawks tonight. Like I said, all games that count for something at this point. Some a little more than others as we continue to move on. So, right, like I was just saying, a lot going on in the NBA. True that. You are Coach Cal. You are so right as we get ready to move into this particular conversation in the reference to the All-Star game. Like, so of course we already know for the East, the starters that were selected, Giannis Antetokounmpo was the top point getter, so he is the captain. Joe Mazzulla and the staff for the Boston Celtics will be the head coach. Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be the team captain, which he's going to pick the squad, in which, although they don't necessarily have to be on the squad, at least the first 8 players have to be selected per they are going to be the starters. So the first 10 players that were chosen are starters. So no matter what goes on when LeBron and Giannis Antetokounmpo select, they're going to have to select one or 4 of the other 8 players that are left in the pool for theirs to be the starter on their respective team. Same thing which me and Bishop select. Out of these 10 players or 8 players or 10 players, or well, most likely 8 players, we're going to have to select from the first pool. So, of course, the first pool of selections are going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is a team captain, so he's guaranteed. Kyrie Irving, Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Durant, if he's still going to play, Jason Tatum, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, Stephen Curry, Luka Doncic, Zion Wilson. Now, I don't know if Luka and Zion are going to be playing. The West is going to be led by Michael Malone and staff from the Denver Nuggets. So now that's what you have. Those 10 players are definitely going to be starters. When you go further down the line and you look at the Eastern Conference reserves that were selected, which these are going to be now, these 14 players are going to close out the rest of the rosters. So you're going to have a pool of Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, DeMar DeRozan, Julius Randle, Drew Holiday, Tyrese Halliburton, Bam Adebayo, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Damian Lillard, Paul George, Lauri Markkanen, John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Domantas Sabonis are the reserves for the Western Conference. So you're going to group all of them. So that second group is where they're going to start to get the picks from as well, which, like I said, myself and Bishop would do the same. What the NBA, and we're going to get into the conversation that you're messaging currently, Cal, in just a few seconds. So, of course, Friday, the NBA All-Star Weekend kicks off on the 17th. Basically, the week after the Super Bowl. in which you have the Celebrity All-Star game. We haven't heard or know who's going to be playing in that yet. The Rising Stars Challenge, in which earlier this week we discussed and said who the 21 players are that are going to be putting um, collectively chosen and putting on in 3 teams. And then the other team is going to be from the G Leagues team, in which they're going to play 2 games. They're going to play 2 game semifinal game and then a championship game, 2 games to 60 and then a game to 25. And then the NBA is going to have the NBA HBCU Classic, which is going to place Grambling State versus Southern. The NBA All-Star Saturday, which includes the skills challenge, 3-point challenge, slam dunk contest, in which everyone's going to be looking to see. And then last but not least, on Sunday, the 19th, is going to be the 72nd NBA All-Star game at 7 p.m. So packed weekend. This is like that year. We're at that time of the year where we get the this week we get the Pro Bowl. Next week we get the Super Bowl. The week after that we get the NBA All Star Weekend, and then we get the start to fall into the conference champions for the NCAA men's and women's, and then we get March Madness, and then we're getting to the start of baseball, not to be removed, or we get the NHL Stanley Cup and all that type of stuff. So that time of the year, and then we restock and get ready to go back in again with football, college, the draft, and all that type of stuff. So it's that time of the year. Oh, not to mention, I'm sorry, WNBA action as well to get started, as well as the XFL, the USFL games to be leagues to be playing. So it's gonna we're gonna amp back up. So content galore for me. So what Coach Cal was just talking about, of course, saying we just talking about snubs, like who was snubbed, like who got the snub, who didn't get in, why they didn't get in, was it warranted, was it not warranted, like who was snubbed in the selection of these teams, right? And then we get to it, who they say the snub team was, the NBA snub team. So names that we didn't hear, right? And what you just talked about. We didn't hear Anthony Davis. Coach Cal made a good valid point. You can't play a minimum amount of games and expect to get in, which of course I'm very sure Anthony Davis is clear and concisely aware of that and understands that. Or is he probably making a big deal? We're probably making more of a big deal than it is than he is. James Harden, another name we're not hearing. De'Aaron Fox, Trae Young. Who else are we not hearing? What are some other names in which we didn't hear? I guess you could say for the biggest. At my point, in my opinion, the biggest snub would probably be De'Aaron Fox. I think it was probably the biggest snub. Yes. Okay. So yeah, we on the same sheet of music, Coach Cal. De'Aaron Fox is the biggest snub. He has did like shout out, giving Demonis Sabonis opportunity to get in, and him playing as a MVP. I mean, not MVP, All Star. But De'Aaron Fox probably is the biggest snub for this year. Like we don't hear other names like the names that we're accustomed to hearing, but the De'Aaron Fox not getting in is the biggest snub. But when you think about it, some of these people are probably going to end up getting in after the fact. When you look at potentially these injuries, like we said, Luka on the front court, so he might get in. We might end up seeing De'Aaron Fox if Luka can't go. We're probably going to see De'Aaron Fox. Probably end up getting the opportunity to compete for the West. NBA getting richer than ever with talent these days, so a lot of really good names are playing. And that part, and what you have to expect is it's only 15, it's only 24 slots total. Only 24 slots total. 12 for the East, 12 for the West. And it's and of course you have the situation to where your players get voted in, the starters get voted in via the votes, and then of course the coaches and the players make the selection on who they think should get in the rest of the way. If you don't play, that's the key thing. If you don't play, then what do you expect? There's not you're not going to get in. So some of the top players in some markets, some teams don't even have, some markets don't even have an all-star that's there. So of course, what I think how the NBA tries to cover up that is they basically bring someone from that market to compete in something else for the most part. Warrantedly. I mean, I'm very sure it's a whole algorithm in how they make the selection on who's going to compete in the on these things or how they're going to get people, because if I was an individual from a marketing standpoint, you got to have people that are saying to buy into it. So how do you do that? You have representation. So for people feel like, saying my team, this person was snubbed, or, saying I'm not just a fan, I'm a huge fan, or some people just commit to their league, to their team, and that's what it's all about. So you got to have some type of representation in or around that in those games. 10 names by the fans. When the coaches and players get involved, the true names get into the reserve slots. And true that. I completely agree with you, Coach Cal. But then again, like I said, that's why they changed the how they do it. So it's 50, like the fan vote only counts for 50% of for the starters, 25% from coaches, and 25% weight from the players. But when the players and the coaches do the reserves, then it's a more comprehensive look at what it should be or who you got, because they're looking at, like, we play day in, day out. We playing these cats. We play with these cats. These are the people being deserved. And that's what you get, presumably, while you look at why Anthony Davis, Trae Young is on the sideline. I'm very sure it was a hard situation to leave De'Aaron Fox out, but still the opportunity potentially remains for him to potentially get in, because he could be a potential reserve for them coming in. So you got Luka that's potentially going to be out. We still don't know if Zion is going to play. You don't know if Durant is going to play. So that's 3 players, 2 from the East, 2 from the West, 1 from the East, that may be on the men still that aren't going to have an opportunity to play. So you still have an opportunity for some of these players to be able to get back in. I'm trying to find. I had put some off to the side. I'm sorry. I'm looking for it. I'm trying to see where I put it at. Where is it? Okay, this was I found it. So what was considered this year's all snub team? You have, in which we go over real quick and discuss it a little bit. Trae Young, Pascal Siakam from Detroit, from the Toronto Raptors, De'Aaron Fox, Sacramento Kings, we just discussed. Trae Young, Atlanta Guards, we stuck. Jalen Brunson, the New York Knicks, I can kind of get down with that. Jimmy Butler, the Miami Heat, Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon from the Denver Nuggets, DeAndre Ayton, the center from the Phoenix Suns, James Harden, CJ McCollum was considered the NBA's all snub team this year. So I can see some of that. Maybe CJ McCollum, maybe De'Aaron Fox might have some competition in getting in. And I agree for that, Coach Kyle. I would have traded out Brunson for for Randall as well. But I also think it came down to the position, the front court player versus the backcourt player, in which they probably had. When you look at that, they didn't need Jalen, but they needed Randall. Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray, I think, hasn't put in enough time, or he's just now peaking. So I can see Jamal Murray being left off, but Aaron Gordon, I would wonder, like, he held down the squad while him and Jokic held down the squad when they needed it. Jimmy Butler, he probably doesn't see. Brunson probably won't see. I think Brunson would go. So I think the next up is going to definitely be if Luka can't play, or it's not in his best effort to play. You get Darren Fox probably gets slid up in there, as well as potentially CJ McCollum. So I think in the West, next man up would be Darren Fox, DeAndre Ayton, CJ McCollum, and Aaron Gordon. And then if I had to have in my next way up in the East, I think would be Jalen Brunson. I think it's Jalen Brunson, Jimmy Buckets, Pascal Siakam, then Trae Young. But I think if KD can't go, I think Pascal Siakam probably gets in next. So no, I think not medical. From a medical aspect, and I think if they don't play just because it's determined I don't want to play, like don't want to sit up and just want to be a spectator, don't want to go through the grind of that part. So he should have been. I think Christian Wood was deserving if he would have been playing. I think had he not got injured and had continued to play, I think he would have clearly been in the run-ins, or he would have been on the all snub team, which in my opinion just tells me that these people are next up. Like, we still got games basically playing going on. It's still 2 weeks away, so we never know what can happen to any of those starters. And then the starters in turns are going to be replaced by found to be replaced by the league, and it goes from there. So of course we start off with the players, fans, and coaches. Then we go to players and coaches, and if anyone needs to be replaced after this point, the league is going to do their diligence to put someone in that place. So I mean, a lot still going, and it is not looking too bad. Interestingly enough, but that's what we have. So of course, you already know Thursday is going down. My man Seven from the Best of Seven podcast is going to be on hosting over me and Bishop up against each other. Minnesota no reps. That was probably another. Anthony Edwards might have been another snub as well. So no representation, like you said, from Minnesota. Who else had no representation? Minnesota didn't have any representation. Phoenix, no representation. The closest they could have had, well, we know Devin Booker has been out, so they have usually been theirs. Or Chris Paul, he was out. And then you have DeAndre Ayton, who probably should be in, but it's not getting in. Who else can have any representation? The Raptors didn't have any. Denver got it. Timberwolves, you just said they have. The Hornets, the Magic. Boston has two. The Bulls, they have any representation? They have it. They have. He's in. Houston, they can have any representation? The Clippers? Did I say Kawhi? Did Kawhi get in or Paul George get in? I'm sorry. Let me go back and look. I don't think either one of them got in. So the Clippers have no representation. Oh yes, they do. They got Paul. They got in. Paul George got in. PG has been doing a little damage. I'll give you that. He's all right. The Wizards have no representation. The Hawks, no representation. So yeah, there's some teams out there. There's a good amount of teams with no representation. The Heat have one. Cavaliers have one. Spurs, no representation. The Pacers have one. The Heat have one. I just said that. 76ers have one. Celtics have two. Kings have one. Warriors have one. Timberwolves, Trailblazers have one. Jazz have one. Mavericks have one. Clippers have one. Brooklyn has two. Lakers have one. Bucks have one. Denver has one. So you have that as well. Oklahoma has one. Memphis one. Well, Memphis has two, actually. New York one. Milwaukee has two. I'm sorry. Boston has two. At least there's no one with more than two players. That's back in the day when you had Atlanta had four players that 1 year. But yeah, so it's definitely, saying, some players presumably will snub, and so we're gonna look at a situation where most likely they're gonna have some players that end up making the cut and getting in, where it might be a little more representation, or that might be the NBA. Their next step is like, we're gonna get some players in that represent other teams that aren't here, as opposed to bringing in people that we probably feel should be there. So we might see an Aiden, we might see a Pascal Siakam to represent the organizations. Anthony Edwards, we might see him for Minnesota. Of course, Big Cat didn't play at all. Correct. And that goes to show even more to show how. And the only other person could have been from Denver would have been Jamal Murray or Aaron Gordon. So another thing, right? So I don't know if y'all catch. I greatly appreciate. I love the support that y'all provide for us, catching us, watching us. But I don't know if y'all catch the Up and Spoke podcast as well, hosted by Steven Stat Jackson or Matt Barnes. So they had Charles Barkley on there just the other day, right? And then having Charles Barkley on there, they asked Charles Barkley, who are, not counting himself, who is his top 10 all-time players? Right? Top 10 all-time players. Charles Barkley gave his top 10 all-star players. No particular order. Of course, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Oscar Robertson, Wilt Chamberlain, Tim Duncan, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, and last but not least, Jerry West, for his top 10 players of all time. Coming from a top player in his own right, Hall of Famer, although he didn't win any championships. A couple of decade teams or 25-year teams. Chuck has been on two of those of lately, or three of them. He's been on three, I think. 75, 50, 70, 25, 50, and 75. So three. He's been on three 25-year teams. So yeah, what do you think of the list? Michael Jordan, Oscar Robertson, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Tim Duncan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Jerry West. Chuck's top 25. What he believe. This I cover later. I get that. I think he trying to start some ish. Obviously, bad takes. Get attention. LeBron is the glaring omission. No, he has LeBron on there. He did now. KD isn't on there, and you know him and KD tend to go back and forth. LeBron is on there. He put LeBron on there. KD wasn't on there though. Now I say that KD was one of the individuals in which he didn't leave on the on his list. Additionally, we said the trade deadline is just around the corner. Thursday, the trade deadline ends at 2:00. No big deal. So, are we going to see deals galore coming up? Of course, something that came up I caught on ESPN Los Angeles this morning, in which the question came up. The question came up. The question came up in reference to, do you think the Lakers are going to have a blockbuster trade? Or I guess the equivalent of a blockbuster trade. So this was a trade proposal in which ESPN Los Angeles came up with. And let me know what y'all think about this. The Los Angeles Lakers would trade Russell Westbrook, Patrick Beverly, Max Christie, and both the unprotected 2027 and 2029 first round picks. So that's 5 players, 3 players, 2 draft picks, to the Chicago Bulls for Zach LaVine, Javonte Green, and a re-emergence or a reunion of Lonzo Ball to LA. All my GMs out there, NBA GMs out there, would you pull the trigger on that if you were the Lakers and or Chicago Bulls? Russell Westbrook, Patrick Beverly, Max Christie, 2 first-round draft picks, 27 and 29, unprotected, for Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, and Javonte Green. And you know what, Cal? I kind of agree with you, bruh. Like, at this point, I don't think it's necessary to leverage those 27, 29 picks just yet, right? Russell Westbrook is in his last year, which the reason why his contract isn't necessarily that hard to sell, depending on the team, because if you're looking and thinking that Russell Westbrook provides some type of something of notoriety or some sense to you, sensibly to you, to where you can go ahead and take a flyer on him now, pay him the excess of his contract, but he's on his last year. You can re-sign him or let him walk. It doesn't make a difference. Is he going to what's the what type of revenue or assets does he bring to your team at this current point? In which, I mean, I guess it depends on what that could be. Would Russell Westbrook be a draw for a team to go ahead and take his contract and do that, and then bring him along, let him play, let him walk at the end of the year, and going about his business? In this case, you would also bring in Patrick Beverly. Patrick Beverly become a buyout player to where you just go ahead and buy him out and be like, okay, we're gonna let him walk too? Max Christie is an RA player. You can either keep him in your roster and continue to develop him, or send him down to your affiliate and let him come back. And then end state is you walk away with the 2027, 29 first round picks. Well, whatever that looks like at the end of the year. But you get Zach LaVine, who, you know what I'm saying, what does Zach LaVine bring though? Like LeBron, Zach, AD. Zach at the 2, LeBron at the 3, at the 4, AD at the 5 or at the 4, depending on what you're doing. You got Bryant, you got Ryu. Actually, Ryu could be the 4 now. LeBron at the 3, Zach at the 2. I I guess at this point, Austin Reeves runs the one. You still have a two player, Lonnie Wilkins the third. Schroeder. Schroeder runs the one. Reeves backs him up. He's a swing man. It maybe don't look that bad, but I don't know if it meshes well. I get it, but at this state, you're correctly right. You're right, but at this state, is only hell. The Lakers only have 5 players that I think under contract after the end of this season, and 2 of them being AD and LeBron. I think Austin Reeves is still under contract. I think Ryu Hachimura is now under contract. Uh, Correct, and you're right, Donovan. Unless they decide to bring him back, maybe they don't bring him back. And I think, and just to even kind of like mesh what you and Cal are saying, Donovan, I think at this point we keep him. We keep Russ and sit up and see what serviceability we can get out of him. And at the end of the season, you let him walk and look at what we can play with after that. And that's true, Coach Cal. They don't have ever people want to come to LA. And as long as LeBron's there and they're able to win, or you can sit up and sell the player on, they're the piece that's going to bring us that's championship and whatever case like that, or be the next Lakers star. That's what we need, though. We don't need just a star. We need the next star. We need the star that's going to basically bridge from LeBron and AD to whatever the next stars are going to be. And so, and that's basically where we're at, in which, saying a trade, if they was getting rid of Russell Westbrook, that's what the trade needs to be. It needs to be someone that can bridge whatever they can. And bringing in Zach isn't going to be, I don't think bringing in Zach is the key. Just like bringing in DeMar wouldn't have been the key. DeMar is a good player, but I mean, we've seen historically he hasn't been a player to do anything in the playoffs or even get to the playoffs. So that's just what it is and where we're at currently. So I would say that as far as that trade goes, probably not. Honestly, I'm content with. I'm content with. I mean, I'm all for LA bringing in talent. Of course, when you bring it in, you start looking. And you be like, okay, this is going to be. This is what this is going to be, or who this is going to be, and you be like, all right, I can deal with this. For right now, I don't know if that is the case with LA. Like I'm content with Russ finishing out his year in LA and not trading him. And then when we hit free agency, we look and see what's going on. What you think? What's going on, Applewhite? I don't know, Cal. I don't even think. I just whew. I don't think y'all gonna lose. I don't think y'all gonna lose Luca. Especially, well, I say this. I don't think y'all would lose Luca to LA. I don't foresee that being a situation. And what's crazy is LA hasn't had an international player since I think Sasha Vucevic. I mean, Sasha. No, I'd rather sign Donovan. I'd rather sign Cousins as opposed to Miles. I'd rather sign Cousins. But yeah, I think yeah, I don't know. Then you might be on something, Cal. But I just think LA hasn't been rich in players, especially international players, for a good time. But Luca would be the ultimate one. I guess if you consider Steve Nash an international player, him too. But that is interesting. I hadn't thought about that. That was way past what I would have thought. I don't foresee him. Oh yeah, you were saying it was Gasol. He was another one. Kimber Walker is out there. I mean, I guess Kimber Walker would be cool to be but I don't think Kimber Walker would be at the end of the bench. So I wouldn't foresee him being there. Initially, back in the day, I was a Kimber Walker fan. Like, yeah, bring him to LA. But now, I don't think so. I think it would be other people which I prefer. Hell, I'd rather bring Mac McClung back than have Kemba Walker. Embiid, I don't think him either. Applewhite. I don't foresee Embiid leaving Philly. Well, again, I say again, I don't foresee Embiid leaving Philly for LA. Because bringing Embiid there, that would mean LA would have to move Anthony Davis, unless the mindset is we're going to be dominant down low. We're going to bring we want Twin Towers. And hell no, Kyle Lowry, no. Unless he's depending on what he's willing to take. Like these are people like Coach Cal was saying earlier, free agents that don't have any high side in their pockets. Like we can step and bring them for a mid-level minimum of $6 million, $8 million or something like that, because they can potentially outplay their contract. LA in the last couple of years has been consistent in bringing in people low risk on the finance side, hopefully high reward if they play side. Well, we knew LeBron was coming to LA as eventually. He's probably, I would think that give him enough notice, Cal, and he's probably going to be ready to hoop. So I think he's probably sitting on, like, teetering where he gets in the gym. I see with the clips and stuff where it shows that he's in the gym or whatever case like that. So I'm thinking he's probably working or anything, or he's probably thinking about, am I going to go overseas? Am I going to go do something, like, what is he going to do? LaMelo probably end up in the big three in a couple of years, dominating. Jay Crowder, he is serviceable. I think he'll be a good pickup. He got that grit to him. Maybe he can be on an all grind, all NBA grind team. So yeah, I wouldn't mind Jay Crowder. So yeah, so it remains to be seen. But we only got a couple of days before we ain't gonna see anything. And so far, Ryu Hachimura has been the most polarizing trade from the teams. So we'll see what else goes on. Does the Lakers have another one in them? Do we see Russell Westbrook on the move? The 2027, 2029 picks on the move. Any other young talent that we may have on the move? Is any of that getting ready to happen? Or so we'll see what Rob Pelinka has up his sleeve. So moving on, of course, into the NFL. Yesterday, I missed Jared Culver. He did, in which I don't know, Coach Cal. I'm interested in seeing, because it's been, in my opinion, hella quiet on the trade deadline front. It hasn't even been a bunch of what ifs out there, except for what if or what the Lakers going to do. So it's we'll see. So yesterday, as we know, the Pro Bowl games kicked off with it was 4 games, getting some time or getting some burn in the first part of the what was yesterday. I didn't get a chance to see it because I was working, but of course we do still have the results. Precision passing presented by EA Sports and Madden NFL 2023 mobile. Basically had the AFC walk away with that, and we know each individual game garners a point collection for the respective conference. In this case, the conference that the points was collected for were the precision. The AFC collected 3 points for precision. The lightning round, they corrected AFC again, collected 3 points. Longest drive, AFC collected 3 points. And then epic Pro Bowl dodgeball presented by Bud Light, in which the NFC was able to finally get off the snide and pick up 3 points themselves. Currently, they sit 9-3 with 4 events in which they're still able to collect a total of 3 points. And then, of course, the most points to be collected with 3-3 games. for the most part. So yesterday, best catch was performed, but that's going to be continued. That was just the first round, in which the second or the first and finale round will be take place on Sunday, as well as the gridiron gauntlet and the move the chains and kick tack toe beneath against the players. So already have that to where we have a 9-3 position that the AFC is put the NFC in the hole, and which now the NFC has to try to climb out of. Like I said, skill points to be earned. As you know, the winning conference from each skill point collects 3 points for a total of 24 points available across the 8 skill level events. The winning conference in each of the first 2 flag football games on Sunday will earn 6 points for their team for a total of 12 points. And then the points to the skills competitions and 2 flag games will be added together and will be the score at the beginning of the third and final flag game, which will be determined winning conference for the Pro Bowl. So at this point, the teams are playing for their point systems, and if the game has started, if the game was to start today, for the conferences, the AFC will be up 9-3 with the opportunity to earn an additional 24 points apiece. So that adds a little excitement, a little bit different at the end of it. I didn't catch it, Coach Cal, but I'm gonna have to see if I can catch it before I go into work today in a couple of hours, and maybe come home and catch a little bit. I'm very sure NFL is gonna probably have a repeat, so maybe I'll get in and watch it later. So I want to have to look at it, but I don't know. Like I see Coach Cal, are you a Tyler Huntley fan now? Is that what you're saying? Because you've been pushing the Tyler Huntley angle a little bit. Are you trying to get Lamar out of Baltimore with the options of him possibly being sued to Dallas? Is that the angle, Coach Cal? That works. I can see you. I hear what you putting up, man. Does he? Is he? He's kind of. I'm about to say, do you see that, or even bringing Tyler to be come in to be backup to Dak? All you need is a chance. All you need is one mic. Let's see what else we got. What else I got up on hand when it comes down to we're not gonna do that yet. Won't do that yet. I might have it early day today. Oh, something that did come up yesterday. As we know, the games are going on. So there's always 2 games at the end of the college football season that are used to catapult players into a different stratosphere, but it comes down to the scouting aspects of it. So, of course, you have the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl game. Yesterday, the Shrine Bowl took place, in which we seen the East and the West battle each other on the 98th annual East-West Shrine game, in which the West was able to walk away with the victory, winning 12-3, which was blatant of defense and kicking on full display. Of course, the darling of this game was Michigan's kicker Jake Moody, as he went 4 for 4 from field goals, with 2 field goals of 51 yards and 2 tries from 35. And he basically garnered the offensive MVP for this game, taking those honors. Additionally, he had I guess you could say that was it. Of course, between the 2 teams, there was only 427 yards total, 2 turnovers. Defensive player Trey Dean III accounted for the defensive player of the way, as the safety. He had picked off a pass from Minnesota University of Minnesota quarterback Tanner Morgan, and went ahead to solidify and kind of like lockdown, where it was able to keep the lead. Of course, they had running backs from the East, Jordan Mims from Fresno State, who broke off a 30-yard run. That was probably the best play. And then the West, Xavier Valade from Arizona State, he rushed for a game-high 76 yards and 13 carries. But, of course, it was the kicking game that was on display, as the West wins the East-West Shrine game 12-3, as they get ready to go in and move into the Senior Bowl. Again, another opportunity for players to kind of like show what they got and produce. What Dallas does not want him. He has not done anything like Dak, and he has that injury also. Who are you talking about? Applewhite, you wouldn't want Huntley, or you wouldn't want Jackson? Nobody ain't going to lift the Pro Bowl to see if Huntley is good. Well, if you're looking at the Pro Bowl, you can't help but to see Dallas can't afford a QB that has actually done something without getting rid of Dak. Correct, I get you. So it would be Huntley in which you would more so. Okay, Jackson. Well, y'all would have to. So you saying Jackson is an MVP winner, 3 years removed, Coach Applewhite? I mean, Mr. Applewhite. Does that count for anything? It's easy to pass the ball when nobody's rushing you. I don't know. So Huntley. Well, how about Huntley? Is Huntley cool? Backup? Is that cool? Do y'all think and believe that there needs to be someone behind players pushing players? So does a Huntley coming in potentially? I mean, of course, theoretically speaking, Huntley in Dallas, would he push Dak to be more consistent, more accurate, or things in that nature? As a starter or as a backup, Applewhite, is Dak a starter on any other team? That's a strategic move, Anthony. That I don't doubt. I would say that too. But is Dak is a starter on any other team? I'm just wondering, asking for a friend. Is Dak a starter on any other team? Lamar is needed for Dallas to offset Jalen. Philly is primed for the future with a running QB. Dak is supposed to be highly skilled as a passer. He needs to be practicing crossing route passing all spring summer long. So, talking quarterback talks, like this might take us out. The conversation yesterday that was had in reference to Derek Carr. So, of course, it came up that Derek Carr, and of course, we have back and forth between Cowboys fans discussing what Dak should be and shouldn't be, and then Washington Commanders fan, of course, a divisional fan that's speaking on what should be going on. The MVP don't mean nothing. Cam Newton won the MVP and took the Panthers to the Super Bowl the same season. And the very next season, everyone was saying he's not the same player. Is that the same to be said for Lamar Donovan? You think the same that Lamar isn't that player? I know we have conversations. I mean, we haven't had conversations, but we've seen conversations to where we saw players like Robert Griffin talk about how they handle in which him and Lamar are the same, in which Robert Griffin at one point was Lamar's backup. Dak has longer shelf life physically. Of course, Dak isn't as mobile as a quarterback as the other ones is. But of course, you're looking at like you get to the position where it seems like it's slow motion when players like Jalen Hurts take off to run. Where it's not they're running, it's like a slow motion, like he's picking his spots and he's going and he gets there, gets down. Of course, when you look at Lamar Jackson, it's a little bit different. Of course, I think it's a situation where Lamar Jackson takes a look at what he has done to get him what he did to win the obviously what he did to win the championship, what he did to win his championship. I mean, his Heisman Trophy and what he did to win his MVP trophy. Now it's just a matter of him. Of course, he's not able to get a national championship or a national championship MVP, but he is well able to get a MVP, a Super Bowl championship, and a Super Bowl championship MVP possibly. But is he that quarterback when we talk about Lamar Jackson? Is Dak Prescott that quarterback? We're about to see is Jalen Hurts is that quarterback. So all these things can put, well, at least one of those three questions can be answered. We know as far as
Patrick Mahomes, it has been answered, and at this point, they're trying to get to where Mahomes has been. So I mean, it remains to be seen. So I don't know, but with Derek Carr, right? So yesterday, Derek Carr had a conversation while at the Pro Bowl, which it brought up. We know that he's not looking to push or offset or extend his where now a hand is being forced. A hand is being forced to where even one Derek Carr has to be traded by February 15th, or the Las Vegas Raiders are going to have to pay him $40 million, which is guaranteed after February 15th, in which now they're going to either have to trade him or release him and eat that money. Business is something else. Where do you think, does Derek Carr get moved before the 15th, or does it come a point to where he has to be traded, or does it someone do show love and just go ahead and do a sign and trade for Derek Carr after the fact? $40 million is a lot of money. Those QBs get that money and lose their drive after the big payday. If Jerry can lie Huntley really good and have him thinking he can take Dak's spot, he can maybe steal him pending Lamar resigning. Jerry got to put that gift of gab in. And then additionally, of course, going back to what I was just saying about Derek Carr, additionally, what comes into play is we still have the conversation in reference to Aaron Rodgers, which presumably has been picking up a little steam with the situation with Derek Carr. Is, do we have a situation to where Carr, moving on, opens the door for a Devontae and Aaron Rodgers selection, where we heard that supposedly Aaron Rodgers said he's not going to San Francisco. But the ideal is that if people are able to put in a play, that the play would be for it would be for Aaron Rodgers to go to Oakland. To go to Las Vegas, or to go to the Jets, in which in any case it has to be trades because he's still under contract. But what is it if you trade the $40 million for $60 million, sending Derek Carr to Green Bay as opposed to Derek Carr going anywhere else? I would say Houston potentially, maybe Coach Cal. I would say Houston definitely. I think that's a situation. Um, Carr to the Jets is a possibility. I don't doubt. Carolina, I don't know. Of course, we say Frank Wright, would he want him in Carolina? But there's a lot out there. Then, like I said, I think there's a surface with some good quarterbacks that's going to be out there. I initially figured that the whole thing with Baker Mayfield, but I think Baker is going to end up re-signing and staying in the McVay system and looking to be the backup for Stafford, or even the starter if Stafford isn't ready to come back by the beginning of the season. So those remain. I don't see Huntley and Lamar remaining on the same roster together. Maybe not, even though they're the same player. They may. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers is washed up in just regular QB now. The Superman Rodgers is over and out. We say that till he gets in the position, so I think he might have a little left in the tank. Obviously, I didn't think he had it this year because he was no longer around a bunch of players that could have basically put him in a position to where he could have been beneficial. It would have been beneficial to him. Like we found out about Christian Dotson late in the season. Had he found Christian Watson, has he found out about Christian Watson earlier, they might have been a little more potent. Or had his receivers been, say it took a while for him to get around the curve. So Aaron Rodgers, he needs a run game. He had that in Aaron Jones. It kind of deflected a little bit. Dylan started to pick up the slack, so they started to become a 1-2 punch. And then after the fact, Aaron Rodgers will be starting to show a little like, okay, this is a glimpse of who he potentially could be. But of course, you can't do that if you have, again, we talked about that, a mediocre, you're better with an immaculate core of receivers and a mediocre quarterback versus a immaculate quarterback with mediocre receivers. It doesn't work. or the other way around. Might be better than Huntley. I'm trying. You think so? I didn't get a chance to really see Anthony Brown. I didn't pay attention when he played that one game. But it could be a situation where he can build on it. Huntley played one or two good games and now say he's a starter. We're not saying for him to start anywhere except for if he was starting in the system in which he has played in. Now, I wouldn't expect him to go and become go to Dallas and become a starter versus Dak unless Dak afforded him the opportunity to push him to where it's like, yo, we might have something here. That's completely different. Nor is it the same if he has Lamar Jackson and he's going to push Lamar Jackson to take his spot. We're not saying that. However, just what we're saying, if Anthony Brown and Huntley were up against one another, we might be seeing Huntley as a starter. And I anticipate Jalen and Philly's offense being replicated in the league. Are you feel like you're good with Rush as the backup Applewhite? I think everyone wants to improve at all times. I think it's just one of those things. So you always kick the tires on what could potentially be an improvement in getting better. We clearly see, I think San Francisco has put out there what it looks like to have quarterbacks in your quarterback room. It just so happened that we was one quarterback short and we didn't get back there. Our starting quarterback went down. Our backup quarterback became a starting back and was effective. Our backup to the backup became the starting quarterback and was effective. We didn't have anything for a backup to the backup to the backup in state and didn't have anything to go for, so we was left. But I mean, to be all honesty, not to make any excuses, we chose Josh Johnson as the backup or to be a practice squad quarterback in which not thinking that it would even get to him, and then it gets to him and he wasn't ready. Just what it came out to be. So it proves that to have quarterbacks as best you can at every level is helpful. Can be very beneficial. The way Jalen applied the run game was brilliant. Threat of a QB, escape run, stretches out the defenses and opens the run lanes. Correct. And you got to think he did it against the best defense in the NFL. However, you got to keep in mind that the defense was on the field an exponential amount of time, to which makes a complete difference as well. But in-state is, like you said, it works. It definitely works. And you got to think what it's been working for many years. It worked when Colin Kaepernick was around. It worked for Washington to do what they did when they had Robert Griffin III. It worked for the most part with Jackson, you know what I'm saying, and other. I mean, Danny Dimes, a running quarterback, Josh Allen, a running quarterback or a mobile quarterback. Like, it works to a degree. It helps to have someone that can move in the pocket, and when it comes time to get up the field, Steve Young, Michael Vick, we can go on for days. Like you said, 4 to 5 yards a game, come back, milk the clock. It helps when you're in the perfect position. And then, of course, you lean. That helps to lean. It was just, I would give Sirani heads up on, you know what I'm saying, it was masterful once you got to that particular situation where they can basically look at like, are we just going to run the ball? We're going to power through. Like, they're going to stop us here and there, but we're going to continue to run the ball and wear down on them, especially when you look at the fact that they didn't have anything to thwart them. So it was good. It worked out. I don't know if it's going to work for them like that in Kansas City versus Kansas City in Arizona. Maybe if it comes out to be the same type of situation, possibly, but it will remain to be seen. But of course, it's a Friday. Y'all know what to do with your Friday. Have a good time. Enjoy your week. Y'all know where to find us. Come next week, we'll be right back here. Maybe you want to have some trades to talk about or some expectations of some trades. It should get ready to start off the week for the NFL Media Day. That should be going on. So it should be a whole plethora of things. Of course, Does LeBron drop 63 on Saturday versus the Pelicans, and that ends up, the look, or does he continue to push on till he goes back home on the 7th to play against, I think, the Pacers or something like that. In any case, we'll be here for it to talk about it. I greatly appreciate y'all rocking with us this morning as they continue to talk. Of course, y'all know free reign when we did drop off. Continue to talk. It doesn't make a difference. Engage. Once Jalen gets to the big bucks, this game will fall off. Also, money drives the league, and money is the cause of the bad quarterbacks play. Do you think that one of the biggest secures in the bag was Patrick Mahomes a couple years ago? Applewhite, would you say that he has fallen off? And after you ask why you won't have one Huntley when you have Rush, I was just saying, asking that question, Anthony, is Huntley a better upgrade over Rush? If it is, would it be more effective to have the upgrade instead of having the other, or even having both? You can keep them both in. So if one goes down, you have basically what San Francisco had. He's the only one who has not lost. Of course, a horrible showing in the Super Bowl could derail the Philly momentum. I pray that Mahomes kills him in the passing game and forces Jalen to throw. I'm still, honestly, I play around with Bishop and stuff like that, but the jury is still out on who I actually am gonna go with. I mean, the saltiness in me wants Philadelphia to lose, of course, because one, I got to continue over the whole year to put up with him talking about they have won 2 Super Bowls in the last 10 years and all this type of stuff, or last 4 years, 5 years. I don't want to sit up and hear that all year long, or even for the next couple of years. First and foremost, so that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't want Philadelphia to win. But however, I have to look at some things in which Jalen Hurts stand for, his all woman team. I really admire people who look at giving others that wouldn't necessarily be. I don't believe in gender roles and all that type of stuff society placed upon. I think society has placed all those things upon. So it's certain things in which you stand for I really admire. But of course, I admire my squad. You just beat our squad and all this type of stuff. So it's a lot that goes into that for me. KC is the Golden State of the NFL. I think you are hitting on something there. I'm not betting against Mahomes in the big game. Okay, you already see where you at with it, Applewhite and Coach Cal. Of course, we can continue this conversation. We'll be rocking. Y'all know where to find us every Monday through Friday for the most part, 09 to 1100 hours. First Formation Morning Sports Talk brought to you by E2G Sports Network. And it's your boy Trey. I'll be hollering at y'all. Y'all know what's going on to play the All-Star pick. And of course, maybe a couple of things in which I got in my bag I'll simply put out there, but be looking for it. I'm out of here. Y'all enjoy your day. Can't wait to see you on Monday. Peace.